We'll now discuss how to multiply and divide rational expressions. So we'll start with multiplication. And when we multiply rational expressions, we're going to just multiply the top divided by multiply the bottom. And while we're doing this, we can simplify either in the middle of our multiplication or at the very end. Here is our first example. So when we're doing these, the first step is to factor as much as we can. If I look at the first fraction, I just have an x plus 7 on the top. And then on the bottom is a 7x plus 25. These do not factor. On the right, the denominator is still x minus 8. However, the top can factor. I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 40 and add to be negative 3. And I can get that with negative 8 and positive 5. So looking at this, I can see that there's an x minus 8 on the top and bottom that I can go ahead and simplify. So now on the top, I'm left with x plus 7 times x plus 5. And on the bottom, I'm left with just a 7x plus 25. So that's my final answer. Looking at one more, if we start by factoring, two numbers that multiply to be 25 and add to be negative 10 are negative 5 and negative 5. On the denominator, I can factor out a 10. That leaves me with x minus 10. On the right, the top is an x minus 10, and the denominator, I could pull out a 9. However, I'm going to pull out a negative 9. And this is going to leave this 45 into a negative 5 and this negative 9x into a positive x. So x minus 5. This makes one of the x minus 5's cancel and the x minus 10 cancel. So the top is just left with x minus 5 and the bottom is negative 90. Next, we'll discuss how to divide these rational expressions. And this is going to be very similar to multiplication. In fact, there's only one extra step. So when we're dividing fractions, we're going to take the second fraction, flip the fraction, and then multiply. So we can see that we can factor the same way we have been, flip that second fraction, and then multiply. So the only extra step is flipping that fraction. So let's look at some examples. We're going to start by factoring. X squared minus 16 will factor into x minus 4, x plus 4. And the denominator, x squared minus 10x plus 25, factors into x minus 5, x minus 5. We're then going to flip the second half. So the top is what used to be the denominator. So I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 10 and add to be negative 3. That would be x minus 5x plus 2. For the bottom of this, I look at the top of the old fraction and see that I could pull out a 3 to get 3 times x minus 4. And now I can see that there's an x minus 4 on the top and the bottom, as well as an x minus 5. This means on the top, I'm left with an x plus 4, x plus 2, and on the bottom, I'm left with a 3 times x minus 5. So one last example, y squared minus 9 will factor into y minus 3, y plus 3, all over y squared. For the second one, we're going to flip this fraction, so the top is y plus 2, and on the denominator, I could pull out a y to the 4th, and I'm left with y plus 3. So now I can see that there is a y plus 3 on the top and the bottom that can cancel. So on the top, I'm left with y minus 3 times y plus 2, and on the bottom, y squared times y to the 4th is y to the 6th.